They say silence speaks louder than words. But when Jamie Foxx went silent, the world held its breath. He wasn't just another actor. He was the guy, the one who could sing, act, make you laugh, and still break your heart with a single scene. And then, nothing. No updates. No interviews. No red carpets. No smiles. Just silence. People started to ask, where is Jamie Foxx? But few knew the real story. Because sometimes, even the loudest lives go quiet when the pain gets too real. This is the untold story of a man who disappeared, and came back stronger. Long before the fame, before the Oscars, before the crowds. Jamie Foxx was just Eric Bishop. A young boy growing up in Terrell, Texas. Raised by his grandmother, Estelle. Not because she had to, but because she chose to. His parents weren't around. But Estelle, she was everything. She gave him discipline, music, church, and structure. She didn't let him get away with excuses. She didn't let him feel sorry for himself. That shaped him. That pain, that push, it stayed with him. He was funny in school. Witty. Quick. But what no one saw was that behind every joke was a boy trying to be noticed. Trying to be loved. Trying not to break. And then, he found the stage. He found music. Comedy. Acting. He could mimic anyone. Make you laugh. Make you cry. Suddenly, the world that ignored him started to pay attention. He made it to Hollywood. He earned his place. But even at the top, Jamie never let people see his cracks. Not until everything stopped. April 2023. Jamie Foxx is hospitalized. A medical complication, they said. No one knows exactly what. But whatever it was serious. Dead serious. The man who once did 5 things at once, couldn't do one. He went dark. No public appearances. No updates from family. Just fear. And the silence? It was deafening. For months, fans speculated. Heart attack. Stroke? A coma? Nothing confirmed. Nothing denied. And that uncertainty? It made people realize just how much they missed him. Because you don't notice how bright someone shines, until the light goes out. But in that darkness, Jamie was fighting. Not just for recovery. But for his dignity. For his family. For himself. And in July 2023, like a quiet sunrise, he came back. A short video. No big production. No polished look. Just Jamie. Raw. Real. Grateful. His voice was shaky. His eyes looked tired. But his message? It was powerful. I went through something I thought I would never go through. He didn't explain. He didn't need to. Because sometimes, survival is enough of a story. What Jamie went through, it changed him. It made him quieter. Softer. But stronger. He said he didn't want people to see him in that state. Not weak. Not helpless. And maybe that's the hardest part of being loved by millions. They see your best. But they forget, you're human too. Jamie Foxx had to rebuild. His speech. His strength. His spirit. Step by step. He wasn't running toward the spotlight anymore. Now, he was walking, carefully, slowly, toward life. In his own words, he was on the road to recovery. And that road was long. But he walked it. Because when you've had everything, and almost lost it all, you start to value the simple things. Waking up. Breathing. Laughing without pain. Standing without fear. He started showing up again. At awards. In photos. On movie sets. But this time, different. Not to impress. Not to dominate. But to be present. To be grateful. He once said, when you're close to death, you see life differently. And now. He's living like it. He's spending more time with his daughters. He's focusing on what matters. Because for a moment, everything almost slipped away. And in that moment, he found clarity. Fame never protected him. Money didn't heal him. But hope did. Faith did. And love, from his family, his fans, and above all, from himself, carried him through. They tried to write his ending. But Jamie Foxx picked up the pen. He's not just back. He's better. Wiser. More human. Because the strongest comebacks don't start with applause. They begin in silence. In hospital rooms. In lonely nights where fear outweighs hope. They begin when the cameras are off, and all that's left is pain, breath, and the will to fight. The world sees Jamie Foxx as the entertainer. The star. The face on the screen. But behind that face was a man in recovery, whispering prayers to a ceiling, hoping his body would listen. Hoping his spirit wouldn't give up before his heart caught up. Because the scariest thing is not knowing if you'll ever be the same again. And that was his reality. Each morning, waking up wondering, can I walk today? Each hour, thinking, will my voice still carry the stories I need to tell? There were no guarantees. No shortcuts. No audience cheering him on in those first fragile steps. Only his inner circle. His daughters. His faith. And a strength so quiet, most of us would have missed it. But strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it's just a whisper that says, try again. He did. Again and again. When his body said no, he still said yes. When doctors doubted the timeline, he created his own. When fans gave up hope, he held it tighter. Because Jamie Foxx didn't come this far, to stop now. This wasn't a role he could act through. This was real. And in that realness, he found something deeper than fame. He found himself. Not the superstar. Not the comedian. Not the music chart topper. Just Eric Bishop. The boy raised by a grandmother who taught him discipline, grace, and how to keep going when it hurts. He remembered the music she played. The prayers she whispered. The belief she placed in him when the world hadn't yet noticed. And that memory? It carried him. In those silent moments, between treatments and tears, he reached into that childhood faith, and pulled out strength. And slowly, the light returned. A little smile. A quiet laugh. A grateful tear. He wasn't rushing back to the spotlight. He was reclaiming his life. Step by step. One breath at a time. One moment, one quiet victory after another. Because sometimes, survival isn't about winning. It's about refusing to quit. And Jamie? He never quit. Even when his body failed him, his heart refused to surrender. He took each small win, standing, walking, smiling, and treated them like Oscars. Because when you've seen the edge, every inch back feels like a miracle. He didn't come back for headlines. He came back for life. For love. For the people who prayed for him when he couldn't pray for himself. And when he finally stood before a camera again, he wasn't acting. He was testifying. His words trembled, but his soul stood tall. He said, I went through something I thought I would never go through. And in that moment, millions of us felt it. Because we've all faced things we never saw coming. Moments that break us. Seasons that silence us. Battles no one else sees. And yet, here we are. Breathing. Still trying. Still walking toward the light. Jamie Foxx became more than a comeback story. He became a mirror. For all of us. A reminder that even when life brings you to your knees, you can rise again. You can rewrite the script. You can walk into your future, even if you have to limp at first. And when you do, The applause won't matter. What will matter is that you didn't give up. That you fought for yourself. For your purpose. For your next chance. Jamie didn't just recover. He reclaimed. He rose. From silence. From shadows. From uncertainty. Not with fanfare. But with quiet strength. And today, he stands not just as an artist. But as a survivor. A man who disappeared, and returned more whole than ever. He may not be who he once was. But maybe that's the point. Because sometimes, life breaks us. So we can rebuild ourselves even stronger. Not the same. But better. More honest. More grateful. More alive. This is not just a comeback. It's a resurrection of spirit. A revival of faith. A reminder to every one of us. That the darkest nights can't stop the dawn. That the deepest wounds can still heal. That when life strips everything away, it also reveals what truly matters. Jamie Foxx now carries that light. And in doing so, he shines it forward. Not as a celebrity. But as a man who almost lost it all. And now walks with more purpose, more humility, and more power than ever before. This is not the end of his story. This is the start of a new chapter. Not written by agents or critics. But by every heartbeat that kept going when he didn't know how. This is Jamie Foxx. And this is his rise untold. Pushpin disclaimer, add this to your video or description. Disclaimer, this video is created for educational and storytelling purposes only. All information is based on publicly available sources, interviews, and reports. We do not claim to own any images or video clips shown. They are used under fair use for commentary, research, and transformative purposes. All respect goes to the individuals featured. If any content needs to be credited or removed, please contact us directly.